That's the last time a truly reprehensible thing has happened in the realm of Muppet fandom. Nay, in the realm of that special connection we all share as a civilized species. Elmo. Elmo. Yes, that Elmo has been attacked. He was attacked by this man. Larry David, co-creator of Seinfeld, creator of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and professional curmudgeon. Over the years, many people have established themselves as friends of the Muppets. Countless celebrities, activists, people from all walks of life. They've worked with the Muppets, and the Muppets call these people their friends. But it takes a very unique and, dare I say, very sick person to be an enemy to the Muppets. This disturbing story began recently when Elmo tweeted asking everyone how they were doing. A fairly common kind of tweet for Elmo, you know, if you follow Elmo on Twitter, which I don't. But for whatever reason, this one tweet really took off. It received loads and loads of very honest answers, people really opening up about stuff, and it became a much bigger discussion about mental health. Because of this, Elmo was invited to appear on the Today Show with his dad, Louie. So he went on, and everyone had a good chat about the tweet and mental health and all that good stuff. But there was another guest scheduled to appear that day. Larry David was listening in, and he did not like what he was hearing. At the risk of turning this into a much bigger discussion and possibly insulting some of my older viewers, Larry comes from a generation that traditionally did not have these kinds of conversations. They were encouraged instead to shut up and just tough it out, which translated into today's vernacular means suffer quietly until your soul has eroded away to nothing.
They say, I love you. You're very special.
People talk like that?
Yeah.
Men do that?
Obviously, not everyone Larry's age follows this mode of thinking, but it is extremely common. And to this kind of person, talk about mental health is annoying. It's annoying. And when Larry was fed up hearing Elmo talk about mental health, he did what you would expect from a person who bottles up their emotions. He lashed out. Content warning, this footage is disturbing. Larry entered the room, and he attacked Elmo. He just kind of awkwardly roughed him up on live television. Now look, I get it. It's Elmo. Not everyone is a fan of Elmo. He's small, he's cutesy, he's aimed at preschool kids. He's Elmo. I grew up in the 90s, so I've seen more Flash cartoons about Elmo doing drugs and getting blown up than anybody. He's the perfect target for this kind of thing. He's too pure, and I can kind of understand the desire someone might have to see him harmed in a comedic way. And I also understand that Elmo has seen tremendous popularity over the years. It goes without saying. There are those who feel that he ruined Sesame Street, turned it into something much more commercial than it used to be. I get it. I do not exactly share those feelings. I think that if you're actually following the show and the spirit of the character, you will see that Elmo is a treasure, but I guess I'm getting a little off topic here. The point is, Larry David attacked Elmo. He attacked Elmo. And this is messed up for so many reasons. For starters, Elmo is 3. Okay? He is canonically 3 years old. So that's one thing. Even worse though, Elmo shows up on TV. Who do you think is watching? Hey, little Bobby Sue, guess who's on one of my grown-up shows today? It's your favorite character, here to bridge the generational gap in a transcendent entertainment experience. Let us watch it together while hugging, feeling safe in the knowledge that when Elmo is around, nothing bad is going to happen. Yeah, little Bobby Sue, traumatized now, along with millions of other kids. They are likely in therapy as we speak. then, like I said, so many people are friends of the Muppets, and that's because the Muppets have touched so many people over such a long time, just an immeasurable number of people. These characters are not just for entertainment. They represent the indomitable human spirit, the bonds that tie us to one another, the entire spectrum of living, from the sacred to the silly. To attack one, I'm just gonna say it. To attack a Muppet is a crime against humanity. It's a crime. It is disturbing on a deep, deep level. And then, of course, it's pretty messed up to minimize the whole mental health discussion. This was essentially an act of defiance. Again, I get it. He comes from a different time, but in recent years, we have seen a dramatic shift in the conversation surrounding mental health, and it has proven to be extremely beneficial. Won't go into all that here as much as I would love to, but I will say that I certainly do not side with Larry on this one. But even considering all that, the trivialization of an important topic, the inherent brutality of lashing out at something so pure, all that's bad enough. But you know what Larry's biggest crime is? Not going with the bit. Unlike me, Elmo is not a real monster. He is expertly performed by the incredible Ryan Dillon. And the thing about these characters, or any similar characters, is that the whole thing only works if you go along with it. That's the magic of the Muppets, of puppetry. It kind of relies on a certain social expectation. People are generally happy to go along with it because that's the fun, keeping the illusion alive. But when even one person decides to stop playing along, the whole thing breaks. It stops working. And I can imagine that in a scenario like this, on live TV, this must be a performer's worst nightmare. You've rehearsed, you know how things are gonna go, and then suddenly you are thrown an absurd curveball. And you can't break character, you gotta keep things going as smoothly as you can, but however you react, that becomes canon. You are still acting as a representative of both the organization employing you and the character itself. And right there, in a split instant, you've got to figure out what the exact right thing is. To their credit, Ryan Dillon and Tyler Bunch playing Louie handled the situation perfectly. But you know who was probably watching the scene with absolute horror? The puppet wrangler off stage. I couldn't give you an exact number, but I know that professional television quality puppets are extremely expensive. I remember hearing once that back on Avenue Q, those puppets were like $10K each or something, so I can't even imagine how much Sesame Street puppets cost nowadays. To rough up one of those puppets, that is nerve-wracking. That is just another reason this whole thing is not okay. All right, so we've firmly established that what Larry David did was wrong. Sickening, even. But it is worth noting that he did apologize. It didn't sound incredibly sincere to me, and he was very much pressured into doing it. But you know what? Elmo forgave him. Forgave him immediately. Because Elmo is a being of pure love, pure positivity. He is essentially a love elemental, a pure manifestation of it. And if Elmo can forgive Larry David, I think I can too. That's what Elmo would want. Elmo does not hold grudges. As always, we could all stand to take a page out of Elmo's book. Before we wrap this up, a quick note about my usage of the word Muppet. Sesame Street characters were originally conceived as part of Jim Henson's Muppet family, and though the moniker can no longer be officially used to describe them since the Muppets are now owned by Disney and are no longer affiliated with Sesame Workshop, within these organizations, most people still refer to them as Muppets, and actually, it's my understanding at least that the puppets are still built and maintained by some of the same teams, so I feel it is perfectly reasonable to refer to Elmo as a Muppet, especially considering he was created as a Muppet during the Henson era. Please do not Muppet-splained to me. So those are my thoughts on this disturbing event. I don't know what is to be learned from such a thing, though I will admit there was one surprising and very, very wonderful thing that came of it. I got to make a video talking about Muppets.